A regular day is really, really boring as a touring musician. There's a lot of downtime. You got to think you're not on stage 23 hours of the day. So, there's a lot of driving, there's a lot of sitting in hotel rooms, there's a lot of hang out in Walmart parking lots, there's a lot of getting to the venue and sitting there for hours, and there's a lot of really, boring crap. But, we do it because we love it, because for that hour, for that time, we get to connect with people, talk to new people, meet new people. It's all very much worth it. But, a lot of the stuff that you see and that people associate with touring, it's not that exciting. But it's awesome, and I wouldn't trade in for the world, but I'm just telling you the reality of the situation.
I guess the day in the life of a touring musician, it's pretty rough on the road sometimes, but I guess our day usually consists of, depending on if we have a long drive, we might drive even after we did the show the night before, but most of the time we'll wake up in the morning, usually pretty early, again depending on how far the city is, drive to the next venue. Lots of times we'll usually go into the venue and do a check and just make sure, get like times for when they want us to load in and do all that kind of stuff. Sometimes we'll have a little bit of time to go and adventure out into the city and stuff, but then we usually get back, load in all our stuff, get it all staged, ready for sound checks and everything. Sometimes we'll have press, depending on certain times. All this fluctuates depending on how much time we have before the show, but press, and from there we go to the show.
It fluctuates from day to day, but typically my day consists of I wake up, kind of roll out of my bunk, crawl out of my bunk, I guess, and I find the closest washroom and the closest place to hopefully grab a shower or something, and then we hit the road and we arrive at the venue. Get out of the van, stretch your legs out a little bit, and then kind of walk around. I like to get a good lay of the land, see what the stage is like, see what how everyone's doing, and then I'll go out, grab an energy drink or something, and then I'll typically just kind of wait around for sound check or wait around for load in, and then sound check, and then we'll usually do press, and then get my makeup all done, kind of get into the groove of going on stage, and then after that it's showtime.
Wow, I mean, it depends what type of tour you do. In later years, Cruachan prefer to play festivals, and maybe 1 or 2 shows per weekend where we fly in, we do the show, we get a plane back home. There's not much impact to that, and look, I hate to speak about money, but financially sometimes you get the same amount of money for one festival as you do if you're doing a 5-day tour. So luckily Cruachan don't need the band to pay their bills, but a lot of touring bands do, so they have to weigh that up as well. So when we are touring, we never do more than 2 weeks of a tour. So the last long tour we did was the European tour with Erebaltar. Most recent tour we did was 5 days in Scandinavia with Monogram and Erebaltar. That was only about 2 months ago, and it was good fun. Actually, there's a tour video. If you want to see the answer to this, I have a tour video of a video diary of what we got up to. But it's usually on the bus all the time, and when I'm on my way when I'm planning a tour, I always have these great ideas of bringing books, and I'm actually doing a bit of study in work at the moment. I'm looking for a new certification in my IT career, so I brought my college stuff with me and said, there'll be lots of downtime on the bus, I can study this. Seriously, there's just something so strange about when you're on tour. You do absolutely nothing. You would prefer to just sit there staring at a wall, and it happens, and we laugh about it. Or you look around and everyone's like on their phone. Every person on the bus. Let me just see what else was there. A snapshot of a day on the road. So what would that be? We probably, because of so much drinking on the tour buses, we're probably waking up late, hungover, feeling a bit rough. There's a horrible smell on the bus. Maybe one of us, not me, is carrying a little sick bag and throwing it outside to the bin because we can't use the toilets on the bus. Then we'll arrive at the venue. We're loading out, so it's pulling all the equipment out of the bus, out of the trailer connected to it, setting it up. Then we're waiting around for sound check. We get some food, waiting around, a lot of waiting around, probably on and off the bus, maybe watch something on TV. we do the show, then we're back on the bus. Usually it's kind of an after show party. There's a lot of drink. For us, there's nothing crazier than that. We're not into drugs, so there's no big drug fucking orgies or anything on the bus. We're just regular, normal people. So a couple of drinks, probably listen to some music, and then we go to our bunks. That's it for Cruachan. That's as exciting as it gets with us.
When we're on the road, we don't have a lot of free time. Our typical day is 5 to 8 hours traveling because cities in Western Canada are that far apart. And we get to where we're going. We arrive at the venue maybe 5 or 6 o'clock. We unload, set up and sound check, and hopefully then we really hope we have enough time to just relax and eat and get our stage props and costumes and things ready to get back to the venue and usually just go right on stage. If anything, our free time is the couple hours after we play, but before we finally, go to bed for the night. Otherwise it's the time that we have to find a way to pass is in the vehicle traveling. If you're going across the Rocky Mountains, there's a 10 to 12 hour trip between big cities, so it's a lot of talking. We really get to talk about what we're doing on stage. We really get to talk about our music and songwriting. So a lot of our music and artistic focus and everything is discussed when we're in the van traveling. Probably more so than when we're rehearsing together or planning or writing music, right? So yeah, we'll listen to a lot of music as well. But yeah.
A regular day, arriving at the venue or a festival or anything, checking in. And the first thing I usually do is once that's all settled, the next thing we bring in is we load in the gear. Once the gear is in, the very next thing I do after that for me is hit a bathroom. So I'm either whore bathing myself because I've been traveling on the road all day, and hopefully I have some clean clothes to put on. If I don't, it's an extra few layers of deodorant. Then we hit the stage, usually do an afternoon sound check, breakdown, and then I try to sightsee. The things I love doing when I travel is, one, I love trying to find whatever the local favorite cuisine is. I'm really big on museums. I'm very much a cultural tourist, and nature. Nature's a little hard to come by because, well, most of the time, the shows are in cities or very large towns, so park is a little bit of a distance. But at times, I try to hit a museum. At Raleigh, I played near the North Carolina, we're not too far from the North Carolina History Museum, and I enjoyed a wonderful afternoon there, as well as the North Carolina Sports Hall of Fame in Raleigh. And usually grab a lunch of a favorite thing. One of my favorite things I had, I think, was Salt Lake City, Utah. I had a bacon and pastrami cheeseburger, and that's a thing there, and it was absolutely delicious. I found a mom and pop place that, this is what they specialized, home of the original bacon and pastrami cheeseburger down the road. So so I try to have experiences like that. Then go back to the venue, and then to me, performing is I don't really look at it as I am entertaining a crowd. But I don't really look at it as that. I really think of it as a big communal party. Everyone who's coming to the show is there to party and to have fun. And I'm there to party and to have fun. And if you go in, and as a musician, if you go in with that mentality, then that takes the the nervousness and the edge off. Because, let's face it, we all never have perfect shows. I've seen, a lot of people make mistakes on stage, but everyone's out there having a good time. So for me, it's hitting the Jack Daniels and, and drinking and starting to get in party mode. And then partly one of my favorite things of the evening, more so than being on stage, about my second favorite thing of the day, is when the crowd starts coming in. Now, a lot of musicians, they go running to the van, if it's a club without a backstage, or the backstage area, or, they go stand behind their merch. Not me. I'm walking around. I got my bottle. I usually already bought from the bar at cost. And I'm going around and I'm giving shots to people. Anybody with a wristband, of course, because, stay away from minors. But anyone's 21 and up. and it's a party, and I'm getting everyone in the mood, and a lot of people I meet are like, oh my God, what do you when I tell them I'm in the band and I'm going on, they think I'm just some random cool guy walking around, giving people free liquor. They're like, oh, who's this guy? This is a cool dude, and then sometimes I don't even tell them I'm in the band. I'm in a band performing, and then usually about. Depending on where we are in the set, if it's like a 4-band show and we're third on or second on, then I start disappearing backstage. I grab my guitar, I start warming up, and then we hit the stage. We do our set, and usually by then people are just like, they just saw me walking around with Jack Daniels and partying with them, and now they're seeing me on stage playing guitar, and they're just like, and then they're just like, oh wow, that's the cool guy. And it also helps when you're not really a well-known musician, such as myself, that you really connect with people in a real way like that, because it's not, because then you get the crowd to come to the front and they want to get in to see your show, and they really pay attention to their music instead of hanging out in the bar or in the back chatting friends or in another spot shooting pool or anywhere else they could possibly be that night. But they really want to check out your show because you were just out in the crowd mixing it up with them, and they love that, and I love that. And then, of course, after the set's over, my favorite thing is usually I go hit by the merchandise booth. I don't get behind the table. I stay in front of the table. That I learned from the great Henry Winkler, and that's another story. I'm in front of the merchandise table. I'm doing photos with whoever wants a photo. I'll give a hug for whoever wants a hug. I'll shake hands with everybody. I'll sign whatever the heck they want, whether they buy something from me or not. To me, it's just a great party time. And I stay there until the last person leaves. And whatever they want from me, that's how it goes. And I encourage the rest of my band members, and a lot of them do that too. And then, it's the long night of packing up, getting in the vehicle, and moving on to the next venue. And usually by the time we're packed up and leaving, and you're looking at 3-4 in the morning, so I get about 2.5 hours of drive time in before I pull over to a truck stop to sleep for a little bit. Usually about 3 hours, just enough of a cat nap to wake back up and to continue on the road to the next venue. Hopefully it's not more than 200 miles from the last city. It's those 500-mile journeys and getting to be there by 3 in the afternoon next day that put a wear on you.